Covering this story for us today is our regional correspondent Oliver Farry. And Oliver, tell us more about what Peng said during that interview and the rather particular way in which the interview was conducted.
Well, the main thing she said was, as you mentioned, she walked back her accusation of sexual assault. She said that she never made it in that Weibo post that she posted on the 2nd of November and which she quickly deleted half an hour later. It was quite an emotional, heartfelt post in which she accused former Vice Premier Zhang Gaoli of sexual assault. Now, a number of people who have analysed the Chinese in the language in the message say that there is indeed a certain amount of ambiguity in it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it was completely misinterpreted by an awful lot of people. It's also quite possible as well that Peng Shuai is being a fairly establishment figure in China, is probably doesn't see herself as a dissident, without wishing to play down the seriousness of the allegations. And she might indeed be a little bit embarrassed by the amount of attention it has got worldwide. Of course, we don't know that because Peng Shuai has not really had a chance to speak unchaperoned by Chinese authorities since November, and that was also the case with this interview with L'Equipe yesterday, in which L'Equipe said themselves all their questions were vetted and quite a few did not make it through, and it was done in the presence of a member of China's Olympic Committee. So Peng Shuai is, whatever her thoughts might be, we're certainly not going to get an absolute litmus test, so to speak, of what they might be, because there's they are very much being made under the watchful eye of Chinese authorities.
And I suppose the real question now, Oliver, is this interview likely to assuage concern about her safety? I mean, it doesn't sound like, from what you're saying, she was necessarily able to speak freely when she gave that interview.
Yes, very few people outside of China will be placated by this, because it is pretty much in the same line as all the communiques that have been issued in her name since November. And in fact, some of the language she used in the interview with L'Equipe, she said, pretty much reflected the Chinese government's rhetoric over the past few months, which was saying that sport should not be politicised. The International Olympic Committee, for its part, said that it wasn't its role to determine whether Peng Shuai was actually telling the truth or not, or whether she was delivering this statement under duress or not. And the International Olympic Committee would probably most prefer that the matter went away. Of course, it's not going to. Peng Shuai herself said that she met the IOC President Thomas Bach on Saturday. That was also in the presence of Chinese officials. So that was probably most likely not a very frank exchange either. Certainly people outside of China will look on and think that this hasn't really changed anything, despite her own denials. And of course, China has a track record of having televised confessions by a number of people who are actually in captivity, such as the Swedish-Chinese bookshop owner Gui Minhai, who has been arrested and rearrested several times, and also made a statement live on TV. And his own daughter says that was definitely not his own true thoughts. So definitely people outside of China will continue to doubt exactly the veracity of the words that were spoken in the interview with L'Equipe today.
Oliver Farry in Hong Kong, thanks very much indeed.